where we are. And now, oh, yes, of course, yeah, Lorraine.
So one of the things we talked about at some point was starting kind of a little blurb in the Cumberland Black Crier that comes out to kind of start preparing people for this process is happening. You're going to be getting, survey in the near future. Look out for your postcard, to announce that and, kind of start to communicate with the public that we are actively engaged and they're going to see some products in the very near future.
Right, yes. Do you think that could be done next week?
Sure.
We will, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll make it a point to start it with next week's edition.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
Anybody else have any questions at all at this point? Okay, so we have Christian and Paul here from COG, and we're going to talk about other subcommittees that we want to consider forming. And we'll see what their topics or headings assignments will be, membership and the like. So any guidance to get us started?
So I think we were hoping that we could do I don't even know if it's the right term, an informal straw poll to see sort of what folks lean towards, because we certainly don't want you to be saddled with topic areas that you are fundamentally uninterested in or, will be overwhelmingly unpleasant. That being said, I think they've all got some pretty hot topics. They've all got some juice behind them, but maybe we can run through sort of what you all were discussing in terms of grouping them last week, and then hoping we can find out if those sort of speak to some folks, or if everybody wants to be in one group, in which case we should probably divvy it up a little bit. So,
Christian, they're on the minutes. You want to read them?
thank you. I am pushing very, very, very hard, by the way, to have some like acronyms. I'm trying to make ECIT happen. One of them is economic capital investment, transportation, public facilities, and like fiscal investment. So economics plus. There's also CNS, cultural, natural resources, recreation, historic and archaeological, water, agricultural, forest, and marine resources. Again, sort of all cultural and natural stuff. And then we've got HILGO, which is housing, land use, growth, management, and open space. And that will include the existing and future land use. And so I think we acknowledge that capital investment plan, that's sort of like one of the key deliverables of a comprehensive plan. And the future land use map is a pretty key deliverable for that as well. And then CNS has sort of a lot of the stuff that informs those other things. And so I think they're all really meaty and really exciting. I don't think there was a vote on forming them because there was no quorum. But it might be nice to discuss if folks have one that makes their heart sing over the others.
I hope I asked this last time, but do all subparts cover the entire requirement?
So Bridget assigned one to TPCOG to fill it out, which was just population demographics. So that one we're covering for you all. But yes, I believe that we functionally covered the entire grouping of everything.
Okay.
And if not, then Paul and I will have some more work.
All right, so let's have some discussion about your reaction to the clustering of these topics and the assignment of all various subparts to one of three subcommittees. It's a tall order, any way you cut it, a lot of work.
Yeah, I think some of the thought on having larger subcommittees that covered more topics was that more people could be involved, and then when it came back to fuller group here, there would be more buy-in and more likelihood of success than that. But yes, we're from a larger committee.
It wouldn't be as strange. The information wouldn't be as strange as it might be for a smaller group. Well, it certainly makes sense.
One of the things that we came up with last meeting was the interconnected conversations that have happened because, these topics aren't single silos and broader. It makes sense to bring together.
Okay. Okay. Anybody feel otherwise? Let's try to.
We have a seat open here too.
Yeah.
Hello, Daisy.
Have a seat. Join us.
If I may ask for my own personal benefit as well, I think I will get it all down this time. Since we haven't been wearing name tags for a while, and I see you only every 2 weeks. If you are saying, by golly, I'd like to be on Eckets or Hilgo or CNS, if you could say, my name is Christian and I would love to be on Eckets. That would be
That's good.
helpful for one time around for me, if that's all right.
You don't have our place names by any chance, Christine.
I'll get them after this.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that I,
It's challenge.
yeah, so.
Coming into the week.
All right, since nobody's raised their hand. I'm Josh, and I would volunteer for land use.
Thank you very much.
I'm Katie, and I would also be a dildo girl.
Points, by the way, for.
Dildo. What could go wrong?
Let's write it right now.
Again.
These are works in progress. Like, we can absolutely workshop these.
That'll be the first ask of the subcommittee.
Or ex officio, maybe.
Peter's gonna pass. So, for now.
Yeah.
So that, the outreach subcommittee, how does that play into this? Can someone remind me? I don't want to overcommit myself here, because I think we discussed, Steve, is that group, once the survey is out in June, no, it's pivot, it was a surprise. There's more.
Well, once the survey's out and the results have been, tabulated and made available to everybody, then we go into the public hearing phase.
Okay.
Now, that would be everybody. That would be the entire committee.
Oh,
Although I think we have the responsibility of scheduling and
okay.
getting to, determining how many sort of meetings do we at this stage. But I foresee everybody coming to a major hearing on the results of the survey. We may do this location and the center. And as I mentioned the other night, once in my council career, I had a meeting in the basement of the Forsyth Community Church. So there is space down there as well.
What about Tuttle Road? They have quite a space, actually. Well, in the church part, there's quite a bit of room there to
Would Tuttle, you mean?
Methodist.
Oh,
Well,
the
not Methodist,
community church.
community.
Yeah, Kathy, yeah, sure. That's-
They got-
As the, we're gonna do charrettes with visual aid preference surveys and stuff, and the outreach subcommittee would direct that, would help direct that.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
Just
right?
thinking about budgeting of time.
Yeah.
Right, and regarding commitments, I don't want to overcommit, so.
Right.
Is the outreach subcommittee going to be running concurrently, or are you expecting that everybody on this outreach subcommittee will also be part of these?
Well,
Yeah.
Yes, I expect you would also be on one of these broader committees.
Cool.
But the outreach committee will, I think, will lull for a little bit and then pick back.
Right.
Right, so we're gonna do some redlining of the old comp plan, and so so I think the outreach, you're gonna have your survey, then like a little break, and then it'll ramp up. So,
Mhm. Cool. All right, Meg for cultural CNS.
CNF. And sorry, what's the name again?
Meg.
Meg, thank you.
And then there's also like the outreach committee could like meet like briefly right after a full committee meeting and be like, okay, we need Bridget to do this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, just make quick assignments. Yeah.
Well, let's keep going, Bill. You have a preference. Oh, you.
Guess what I forget the meeting was.
I
drove my bike.
At least one person would do it.
Yeah. We're good.
All right, I did it too, but I was driving.
Yeah,
And I
you-
walked into the lottery and I'm like,
They were very stressed.
So did you miss the brief description of the topics?
I think the Meg shared the committee with me.
Okay.
So we say what we would like to.
So at this point, just where would you want to be? Which one would you want to?
I think land use, growth management, open space would be where I'd like to be.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Each one, Hilgo.
Let's go.
And growth management,
And open space. And remind me your name?
Lorraine.
Lorraine, thank you so much.
Last name's Meredith.
So you're keeping count as we go?
I am keeping a rough count and so far.
Meeting
We might be using.
Okay. Well, all right, given the land rush for Hilgo, I'll go with, CMS.
I love this, thank you. I should also acknowledge if, like, if you want to say where your heart would truly lie, then we can shuffle it out along the way.
It's always arm wrestle, you know.
There you go.
I think there was chat too about how at some point, like, some of the stuff in these subcommittees is just such a big issue. It's gonna come back to like a full committee meeting with just that topic, like affordable housing.
I will also acknowledge that everything informs everything else, but CMS certainly informs Hilgo in terms of, open space, forest, agricultural resources, and what should future land. So I could imagine a situation in which you all get together and have, a joint committee meeting or something like that.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
all right.
Okay.
You guys want CMS with Meg?
All right, so Kathy's up.
I think I want to be on the growth management, land use. Did we get everybody?
But yeah.
No.
Yeah, also given the rush, I'll go with, ECOS.
Yes.
Did you say your name?
Technically a second, but. I'm sorry, remind me your name. Again, these can all be workshops. You are our bosses, but right now a second, for sure.
Okay, so have we got everything?
Where's Evan?
We missed these two.
Oh, Evan.
I'm Evan. I'm gonna have to go with transportation.
Love it, yeah.
That's already my whole life every day.
Yeah, better or worse, yeah.
Where are you going?
Start
Are you going everywhere?
I'm going to find ones, whether a group has a minimum number of options.
I think I'm alone on that.
I will go, I guess, would I guess. Like tips up.
Yeah. That would be
Okay,
very
yeah,
much.
I'll go with,
That's
I
what
guess.
the T is. We're gonna get the T first.
Jacket's looking strong.
Yeah.
I would volunteer Jesse for CNS.
Love this.
Gary Combs, is this him? No?
No, they have a school board budget vote tonight, so he won't be here because it's a Thursday.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I saw this all.
So, and that is nice. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So, and I know there's still a few folks who are blowing in the wind right now. So this is actually thank you all.
Okay, so. All right, so you'll put this in our minutes, Christina, obviously, you can sort of the heading of who has tentatively signed up. We can probably, reach out to the absent members of Bridget.
Yeah.
And get them to volunteer.
And do we still have two?
Bob and Peter.
Yeah, I mean, I would, but I don't wanna. I don't know, I'm kind of an attached member rather than representing. I mean, I would like to, I'm obviously most interested in growth management because I've been doing that for God knows how many years, but I don't want to deprive or do anything else. So let's see how these additional people come in, and if I have to do something else, I will, but I think I'm perfectly capable of giving any opinions after the growth management does what they're doing.
Yep. Okay, okay.
We'll put you in brackets under Hilgo.
So what are your thoughts in terms of, oh, have I got it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Put Bob on the spot.
Put me wherever you want.
At Bitter CNS only have 3.
Okay.
Which one would you like?
Economic and transportation and capital investment, or cultural natural resources.
I suspect that the economics is gonna be light, so put me there.
Always is.
We're gonna have fun.
It's the dismal science, right?
My next job is gonna be federal service. Sue McCollum.
Well, you missed out on being both.
We had a good chance, right? American folks, we were in the-
Yeah, we were, yes.
2.
Okay, so we could, if they feel happy being distributed, then I think Hilgo is a big topic, and if there's,
Oh, sorry, didn't Nancy say cultural and natural resources with her, background at Department of Agriculture?
She
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, so let's do, Nancy can go there, so then we'll have one. And that's
So then we have Adam and Jan. No, yeah,
I can reach out to Jen.
you want to.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah. Then we may, no, we'll have it later. Okay, do we wanna vote?
Yes, we could. So the motion, I guess, would be that we create the 3 umbrella subcommittees with the, at least the tentative membership as indicated by the volunteer process. So somebody can just
I could move that.
make us a motion what I just said. Thanks, Steve.
I can second that.
Okay. Kevin, thanks. Any discussion? Everybody comfortable? Okay, those in favor? That appears to be unanimous. All right, great. Now, what are your thoughts as to when these 3 groups should get together?
oh, I think you have some thoughts.
So we met, the 3 of us met yesterday, and I think if committees are willing, in 2 weeks' time, we come with physical copies of the previous comp plan, and we do the brainstorming red line exercise for your committees. That will help. That will help everybody working together, and it'll get some of like the major themes or conflicts or agreements kind of out in the open really quickly. And you would call 2 weeks' time your first working session. So it would be less about this, and it would be more about, we'll go sit at 3 different tables, we'll throw 2 different comp plans, 2 copies of the comp plan into each subcommittee, give you guys some red markers or what have you, and just mark it all up, and on the side also just make notes, so you don't have to, but we would suggest that would be what you do in 2 weeks' time. And then that will help your understand where your committee's kind of just a knee-jerk reaction.
So you're redlining the 09 plan.
Yep.
As amended.
And just as an exercise.
And I think, in an ideal world, it would make sense to review on your own time before then.
Correct. Your homework would be for this week, for these next 2 weeks, spend some time with the 09 plan,
Okay.
the updated 09 plan, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So are you going to have the redlining available to us in advance?
I don't think so. I think it was more of a physical exercise to start talking to each other, and just kind, when I say red line, I would say loose red line. Not necessarily like a shared doc where you guys would just have at a doc. I think it's more just some themes that might be archaic or like really resonate, or this is amplified from 15 years ago. Just to start bringing those up. And then we could, on our homework, we could go and we'll make some sort of doc for us. You guys can all review it in 2 weeks' time, or we'll say, okay, we got all your feedback. This is where each committee is. We'll produce that.
Jenna, what we've just done is heard from Christian on his suggestions on 3 subcommittees consisting of several parts or several topics, I guess I should say. And hate to have you do.
No, I love it.
Sorry, I'm commuting from Augusta.
No, you're dealing with that. It's a big day. So one is sort of economic and capital investment focused. It also includes, transportation, that's a big capital investment, public facilities, like fiscal impacts, and analysis. Another is more focused on natural and cultural resources generally. So marine resources, archaeological and historic resources, forest and agricultural resources, marine resources, sort of just all of the resources, which is slightly awkwardly divorced, but in a good way, from housing and land use, because obviously those two have a lot of interplay, as does transportation with all of these things, as is economic development. So the last group is sort of housing, land use, existing and future land use, growth management and open space, really kind of wrestling with, what should the future land use map look like? And they all inform one another. They're all exciting and great. And it would be lovely if one speaks to your heart to know what it is.
So having heard that description, we went around the horn and everybody was asked to express their preference. So if you're comfortable in doing that now, that's fine. You can keep track, or if you prefer to think on it a little bit.
Economic.
Okay. Okay.
This is
Good. So that's
evening out.
it is. So we're 4, 3, and 5.
Assuming that Bridget volunteered somebody, so assuming that they're okay with that, then we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Hillgo's a little, there's a lot in Hillgo. Somebody could, if they wanted to, find their passion in CNS, but I think that's a good, healthy group for all of us.
So then we just have Adam still that we haven't placed somewhere. So,
Right. There was then a motion to go with these 3 broad subcommittees, which passed. And it was understood that everyone's choice was at this point technically tentative, not necessarily binding. If you choose to change your mind or anybody wants to shuffle around, that could still happen. And then, so that was the motion that was passed. Then I led off with a question as to how soon we begin meeting. And that's, I think when you came in, Paul was suggesting that our next meeting in 2 weeks actually would be a 3-parter taking part simultaneously.
And we would staff each, so all staff economic development, Christian staff planning, Bridget staff, CNS. And right. And we'll take those notes and we'll turn around those 2 weeks and give you, something quasi pretty that says, this is what you heard, this is what you guys redlined, this is where we are.
So your assignment for the entire group then is to just read up again on the current plan and the amendments.
And specifically the sections that relate to your subcommittee, if you're the rest of the town.
Okay. Yep.
Just a question. The town has a climate action plan. Would that be something that would be part of the reading material for the CNF probably?
Definitely. Sure.
And if not, like in the next 2 weeks, like at some point, it should be in that reading material. Maybe I should switch to CNN. Well, if you and Bob are both on. Let's look up.
Like, things during the CNS.
I don't, put a pause in it.
All right, I'm putting a bracket around you in a hit, but.
I'd love to be on both, but it's just a time commitment.
No, just.
Well, and the original thought was, let's start with subcommittees with time that we've sort of already reserved on calendars, so let's pace it that way. And then see how.
If Jeff is on CNS, it'll be fine because he's on the LCC. So yeah, I'll be fine, I guess.
And I think if this is, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but like, these are broad. These are broad and like, you can come processing vibes, key takeaways, like, we're not gonna hash out the future of land use.
Right.
Or, where forest boundaries should be 2 weeks from now, like, just if you can look through the materials and see what feels like it has aged well, what feels like it hasn't, if you think that there are key missing areas, if there's something that really speaks to you in the language that's there, it's a pretty free flowing discussion. And we just really want to make sure that you all get to start wrestling with the interplay between these things.
Yeah, I just said, yeah, age well, it hasn't aged well, and those are the three things, just start mulling those over the head. And so if you need some direction, that would be a good place to start.
Do you foresee any other reading material for next time around? Any other handouts or?
I don't think so.
No.
I feel like we should let you all focus on,
That is Steve.
Exactly.
Okay.
Wow, we're doing that. We've also received our state data. So
Oh,
I have asked that COG, sort of start diving in with the priority of picking like at least one area from each one of our subcommittees to tackle so that as our subcommittees move through and make some progress, we'll be chipping off data pieces. And at least one, like there'll be one data piece for each subcommittee.
Yep. And the fourth column you think of is request for COG for data. So if there's some data that you really feel like you want, send us back with a homework. Yeah.
so, I don't want to digress, but any big surprises?
Have you looked at it, really?
To be honest, it is going to be a fun, exciting thing to dive into the first thing next week. There's a lot, which is great. I mean, we're going to be marinating in this for the next year altogether. So, yeah, it is not, for better or for worse, it is not, I would say it's not a quick takeaway. Yes, but we'll be in it for sure.
Okay. Well, good to know that's in.
We were all a little like worried that it hadn't come through yet, so I'm happy that.
I think it really was at the last.
Yeah, they said it to me, well, and
Yeah, it was last.
All right.
that's a fairly crucial part of everything, so we're very happy that they have.
Good, okay. So I think that what we've been doing just now is discussion exercises, as I.
Well,
On the agenda.
we have a legit exercise. that We've been kind of looking at subcommittee and providing more of an update. Maybe that was new, but either way.
And as the chair, you can veto icebreakers. I mean, you're allowed to say, I do not believe in, discussion exercises. So,
No, I wouldn't presume to say.
I think what that was alluding to, as we get towards the end of the agenda, and this is again sort of intended to let us, start poking around at ideas and get comfortable with one another. The very, very, very first meeting that Paul and I attended, which was, I think, y'all's third meeting, there was 2 slides, one discussing the vision statement from the 2009 plan and one from the 2014 plan. I can obviously read both of those. We don't have a big projection, but it was sort of just acknowledging if anything spoke to you or if either of them felt more on the mark, because one of the key things that you all will be doing is hashing out a vision statement for the town of Cumberland. And then the other one was that sort of what neighborhood do you live in and what is something that you actually really, really love about it. And so either of those would be functional discussions. We can do a little round robin, and they can be modified as such as well.
Did we discussed circulating the vision statements from the past 2 or so, 3 maybe plans? Just get them, they're fairly short and they'd all fit, I think, single sided on sheet of paper.
Yep.
Would that be possible to shoot for the next time?
Save that one for next time and put it on a sheet of paper. Yeah, absolutely. That's reasonable.
I would just we might be busy next time with doing the subcommittees. So I would caution us about if we're gonna call it a working day, we should make it work.
All right, okay.
Well, we could go look around the table of what we like about where we live. Or we could you could read the vision statements.
Yeah, honestly, I think with the vision statement, if anything sticks out, because they have a different tone to them. So if you want moment.
Wherever you want to go with it.
Good thought.
Probably in the meeting.
Oh, but it doesn't have them on the schedule. And this is what I should have got about printing out, because with rejected, so I apologize for that. That's another.
Do you want? Would it be helpful to people just to?
Oh, you found it important. So the 2009, and these are both like a paragraph long, so bear with me. The 2009 plan is the town of Cumberland's vision for the next 10 years is to preserve the community's rich agricultural heritage, to implement programs and practices to assure environmental sustainability, to make available quality, affordable housing for people of all ages and income levels, to expand its non-residential tax base, and to facilitate moderate growth through freedom. The 2014 update is actually a little shorter, I should acknowledge, and it says, the town of Cumberland's vision for the next 5 to 10 year planning period is to create an environment that encourages community development with respects for the needs of neighborhoods, businesses, the town, and surrounding communities. Again, it's easier when you're seeing them to see the difference in length and some things that are highlighted, but I can read them both again, but I'm curious if anything stuck out to anybody from either of them.
I think the revision is pretty vague. I mean, one is pretty specific, you know, like, here are these things that we're aiming for, you know, and then the revision is just none of that. So.
They have like actionable statements.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it speaks pretty loudly by leaving out some of those goals there in 2009. It almost says that maybe those are no longer.
They couldn't agree. It feels to me like they couldn't agree on something and they were just like Cumberland, it's great.
The one thing that strikes me about the updated edition plan, edition statement is the commitment to consider the needs of surrounding communities. I'm not sure that we have the time, the energy, and the wherewithal to do that. And I'm not quite sure what the 2014 committee had in mind.
Yeah. Yes.
Is this something that will also come out of the project that we're doing?
I think, yeah, it'll distill out from that. Yep.
So maybe there's like a general idea that we get to, but this will certainly be, once we get all these committees and put stuff together, I think that's
But as we go through the plan, the 2009, kind of son of 2009, 2014, is to kind of think in our minds, okay, what has changed dramatically in those 10 years? What conditions have changed? What things remain the same? And then what things have changed to the extent that we need to change the mission statement or just change the action items? Because if I remember right, I mean, we ended up accomplishing about 50% of the action items in the 2009 plan, but as reading that, I mean, affordable housing is still, it's still an issue. Steve found the definition of rural character, which was in the 1998 plan. So I think as we do this, we kind of need to think about what's changed And how do we develop a plan to deal with those changes, whatever they are?
All right, give some thought to the two versions of the mission statement that we have already, and just for real, if we can find the 98 statement. I might just add that to the list.
Yep.
I suspect it's not far off from me too. Yeah. Okay, all right. So, I don't have a lot of, I don't have a lot of old business. One thing we have to do is, no, we have already set our next meeting for
22nd.
22nd, and you said.
We're in council chambers.
Back at the town hall. Yeah, that's right.
Here we are, okay.
Okay, so back at the town hall next time. We have access to the big room, the breakout room as well.
We can use different rooms if it is, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Anyone have the old business to review? All right, it's possible to see this kind of taking physical shape almost.
Oh. One, are we on new business?
Yep.
We, when I was talking with Paul and Christian earlier this week, we had talked about, we had that idea a while back to do a map, drop a pin. What do you like about where you live? Well, Christian teed up a map, on the web and a little survey. So that is, in a place where we could probably add like borders to Cumberland and stuff like that to the map, but where we could look at it together, or we could look at it as a outreach subcommittee and decide whether that's something that we want to really probably get out, right? Just send it out real quick and be like, comp plan surveys coming, you want to preview or you want to start input now, like click the link and tell us what you like. What was the second question?
Something you'd like to change.
Something that you would like to. So 2 questions. And we wouldn't be under any pressure to close it in a particular time frame. We could just kind of keep it open, or if we find that people trickle off and stop using it, we could close it and just have one more data point. If there was a push to open it again later, we could always do that. So
this would coincide with the release of the survey, or?
well, we could
before?
probably release it sooner than that. It's just a quick website link and,
You could use it to tee up the survey in that announcement in the prior, like, start here, expect a survey coming soon.
I think it's a good way to prime
Yeah, exactly.
people, yeah. Get them thinking about that.
should we could work, Christian and I could work together and clean it up just a touch, and then we could talk about it on the 15th.
Do you want to bring it to the outreach subcommittee? Not that I want to
Right.
volunteer for more stuff, but
Yeah.
We
That's
could,
us on the 15th.
yeah, on the 15th.
That's us, yeah.
yeah, I like that idea.
Work?
Okay, yeah.
Can you come to the 15th?
Now that we've said that.
I will look before I can.
One of us.
The 15th?
Yeah, it's us. Yeah.
What time?
Okay.
So that's some new, that's something that we kind of
Sure.
did real quick, and
That's great.
Christian used his math skills, and yeah.
Bridget was like, I think you forgot to click share, because I can't, yes, so. Bridget's the one with the math skills, lower science that. I'm looking on my calendar, which would be lovely.
And with that, well, that's something like every other meeting, we can have quick report outs of some of the common themes that I'm covering for, right? 'Cause it's kind of open and continuous, so it's just instant feedback.
Did, anonymous from the user side? Like, can they see other people's comments?
No.
Okay.
And I think it was your, was it your idea? I think you brought it up a couple of meetings ago.
Oh, did I?
You're the
Yeah.
Genesis notes. And it's like, yeah, it's not a requirement to have to do it if this rubs people the wrong way, you don't have to release it, but, I think as we are circling the specifics of committees, as we are talking about, broad sweeps and vision statements, as we get towards engaging the public and, maybe running vision statements, a vision statement by them, sometimes, having a different input points with them can be helpful, and letting folks express themselves in different ways, however they would like, can give some functional feedback to you all as well.
Okay, okay, all right. Anybody else have any new business? Well, this has been short, but I think sort of a lot done. Giant.
You'll be disappointed.
Now you can go home and read your high quality, 15 amendment to the 2009 plan.
Are we just reading the statute that's pertaining to a subcommittee?
I mean, if you have the time, yeah, I mean, yeah, prioritize the ones that. And I'll go a step further and give you guys like some things that say like piece of paper that say what worked or what age, so you guys can scribble. So I'll give you some big empty columns and pieces of paper.
Okay, we find the plan on the website.
Yes,
Cool, thank you.
on our subcommittee, or on our committee, there's a link, like with all of
And where do you see the most one?
Just making sure.
Yep. Quick question, the tasking, or the housing task force, I know there was a presentation given once you were finished. Is there a written report?
Yes.
So there is, okay, so I was looking on the website, I saw the presentation, that is there,
Yeah,
okay,
it's quite substantial.
okay, cool, thank you.
Not gonna just disappear, it's going to survive.
Well, okay, I guess we're set to take off then for something else. Take a motion. Take a seat. Boys, on the question.
There's a 2015 report on ad hoc land use advisory. Is that included too?
Yeah, because that was that ended up in the 2015 amendment to the comp plan.
So all of those amendments will be disseminated as well? Like, do we need, because that would probably need to be read by, there are different places, right? There's the comprehensive plan PDF, and then there's the land use, and then there's the climate action plan. So would it make sense to kind of make a folder with all the resources for each group?
That is something.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, and that just made me think of one more new business.
Yeah.
It was in the 81. That's not only. Sorry, what more did you do?
One more.
Where's the gavel?
One more new business, when we're talking about putting stuff in folders, that makes sense. The town has a Google Drive. So we could start using Google Drive to like organize, if we ever get to the point where we're simultaneously editing, we have one sort of single source of truth for a document that the subcommittee says, okay, go, everyone read this and put comments in. You could all do it, online through Google Drive. Also just be, it could be just a document repository where we're getting all the things like, where's the climate action plan? I don't know where it is on the website, which is, by the way, getting a redesign soon. So I could help organize that and get that out. I just didn't know if that was the preference of the committee. Sounds good. So dig in and figure it out. Okay.
So Bridget, the ad hoc committee report from 2015, is that on our website?
It is, and that is listed, so there's, and you can't see this, but the list of comprehensive plans that are on our website is the current version is at the top, and it's got the 2014 and the 2015 report, ad hoc report. So that is the most current version. Anything below there are the old versions, links to the older versions, actually starting at 1973, which is an interesting read. You'll find that some of the problems are, some of the things addressed in the 1973 plan exist today. And then, really the search function is a good way to get to the housing task force, the climate action plan, because there's a lot going on here, but I can consolidate appropriate documents into a Google Drive and try to get that out to everybody. But I think the priority would be reading in the next 2 weeks, read the current version, the applicable chapter from the current. Then we can go from there and see like what do we need and what can I put in the Google Drive that would be helpful.
Anybody else? Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All right, that's Bill Wilson. That's unanimous. Thanks, folks, for coming. And
Thank you.
for now.
Because I do.
Oh, They might not notice it, right? Like, see, that's right, another private actually, right? So like, maybe 7 more, like, right? So there was a 2015 range.
Yeah, you were.
I mean, there's like 80. But it could be hard.